Humans have been using graphite to draw since the Stone Age, and now we mine it to keep our batteries charged and machines lubed. But graphene, well, that's something new. This material, first seen in 2004, is only 1 atom thick. Found after peeling off transparent tape from graphite, the mineral stuck to the tape was named graphene. And it might be the first two-dimensional substance ever discovered. But don't be fooled by its size. Graphene is 100 times stronger than steel and powerful enough to repel most gases and liquids. Discovering it has revolutionized battery and information technology, but if graphene atoms enter your bloodstream, what would happen to your cells? You can create graphene oxide by oxidizing graphite. And this nanoparticle, graphene oxide, can be used in medical treatments since it breaks down in water fast. Drugs injected into your system could be delivered to their destinations faster thanks to this cheap and readily available substance.
Can be used in medical treatments since it breaks down in water fast. Drugs injected into your system could be delivered to their destinations faster thanks to this cheap and readily available substance.
Studies in lab rats have shown that graphene caused tumors to shrink. Other tests showed that graphene might even make your bones regenerate quicker. But all this comes at a cost. We'll come back to that. That much graphene oxide entered your bloodstream? The consequences might be dire. Remember, our knowledge of graphene is limited. So, what do we know? Well, studies in mice show that graphene can build up inside the lungs. Graphene sheets only nanometers thick would grow and collect, causing fluids to build up inside your lungs. You could drown on the inside without even touching a drop of water. But what would graphene do to your brain? Well, if you were injected with graphene, a small amount could cross the dreaded blood-brain barrier. This roadblock in your nervous system stops bacteria and viruses from getting into your brain. Now, if graphene enters your brain, most of the mineral would dissolve over the next 2 days. But you're not in the clear yet. The jagged graphene nanoparticles could pierce your blood cells and completely disrupt their function. And if it damages your kidney cells, proteins could leak into your urine. This would make your eyes and ankles swell. This condition, known as nephrotic syndrome, would also kill your appetite. Well, you might have lost that already. While graphene has quickly revolutionized the tech and medical industries, we still don't know what this mineral can do to us in the long run. Is it a miracle of nature, or is it a killer in disguise?
These are magnetic micro-robots, just millimeters in size. They bend and move in response to applied magnetic fields. And with these magnetic fields controlled by a gaming controller, the micro-robots can be driven carefully and precisely. They can turn by changing the direction of the magnetic field, roll in a rotating field, and even grasp and jump.
It often feels like you're playing a video game. In some previous work I did as a demonstration, I was pushing blocks of material around and using a microbot like a bulldozer. And the demonstration I did was playing Tetris.
The idea is this technique could be used to assemble human organ tissues by arranging blocks of different types of cells in particular patterns. The way these scientists actually fabricate the microrobots is pretty ingenious. Tiny rare earth magnets are magnetized in a strong magnetic field. Then they're mixed into a UV resin that will harden when exposed to UV light. The mixture is poured into a mold and placed on a stage below which is a rotatable permanent magnet. This creates an adjustable magnetic field to which all the tiny magnets in the resin align. When the desired orientation is reached, UV light cures the resin in one particular spot, locking those magnets in place. Then the magnetic field can be adjusted and the next section cured. Ultimately, the result is a flexible device with embedded magnets that have different orientations depending on where they are. This pattern of orientations is what gives these micro-robots their unique behavior in response to magnetic fields.
If we can point multiple compass needles in opposite directions within a flexible device, if we apply the field vertically, those compass needles will both try to orient and align with that applied field.
With the right magnetic fields, the results can be pretty sophisticated. Watch this micro-robot pick up a block and then roll with it over to a ramp. It rolls up the ramp, deposits the block at the top, and then returns to its original position. The idea is that devices like this could be used in medical applications.
So this could be sending a device into fluid areas in your body or into your gastrointestinal tract. For example, a capsule that you could swallow, which will go passively through your GI tract, have no wires attached. And at the right moment, we can activate a sampling chamber, basically, to open up and take samples of either stomach or small intestine contents, take biopsy samples of the intestinal wall.
But grippers like these may not be the only magnetic micro-robots invading your body. A different research group has pioneered these even smaller peanut-shaped magnetic particles, and under the right magnetic field conditions, they form swarms. The swarm can take on different configurations: the vortex, where many particles travel together like a school of fish; the chain, where particles line up and travel single file; and the ribbon, where motion is perpendicular to the line of particles. One potential application of micro-robotic swarms is drug delivery. Each magnetic particle could carry a small amount of drug and be guided toward the intended drug delivery site.
So to make a swarm useful for potential biomedical application, you'd like to keep the swarm aggregated. You probably will not be able to see single micrometer sized particles, but you could see the entire swarm. So you'd like to keep it aggregated so you can move it and keep track. But then going through tight environments, for example, going through blood vessels, if your swarm, the overall swarm size is bigger than the blood vessel, then it doesn't fit. So you need to line them up and squeeze through. So that's the motivation for being able to control the shape of the swarm.
And who knows, one day you might have swarms of magnetic micro-robots cleaning your teeth. Another group of researchers has used tiny magnetic robots to clear biofilms. Those are communities of bacteria and the protective sugar polymers around them. They typically build up on medical devices, the insides of pipes, and on teeth. Can I ask, does this idea of magnetic control of micro-robots, does it supplant previous concepts? Like, I'm trying to conceptualize this in terms of, like, you know, sci-fi futures with nanobots, where I imagine, we imagine these things as really self-contained and, powering themselves around the body and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, great question. So the advantage of magnetic fields is that it's a very scalable technique. So we can make magnetic microbots that are single cell size, and we can make them that are centimeters in size, and the principles behave similarly. It pulls off a lot of the functionality to off-board magnetic coils. We can have a big computer sitting there, a power supply. So a lot of the hard aspects of driving a robot we can do as traditional size. We can have a big computer, we can have medical imaging hooked up, and do all of these things off-board. And then on-board, we're just transmitting the magnetic field directly to the device. And so that our microbot is basically then just like the mechanical hand of the robot. And the rest of the robot is really sitting on the table beside the patient.